100 WPM without any stop. Start. As you are aware, sir, under the Constitution from the last date on which the resolution was passed by either House of Parliament, the proclamation for the administration taken over by the President would continue to remain in force until the 24th October 1950. Now this resolution has been brought forward for purposes of continuing the administration by the President in Travancore, Cochin for a further period. In effect, according to law, the further period would be 6 months, but sir, in view of the reorganization of states and the emergence of the Kerala state from the 1st November 1950, it is a matter for consideration as to whether a new resolution or a new proclamation will be necessary, and the tentative advice that we have received is to the effect that when a new state comes into existence from the 1st November 1950, there will have to be a new proclamation issued by the President. If a new proclamation is to be issued, then naturally the effect of the present resolution would be to make the President's rule valid for a further period of 1 week only. Whatever it is, sir, under the Constitution, it is necessary that every time 6 months, when the proclamation is to be further extended, an opportunity should be given to the honorable members of the two houses so that they can know how the administration is being carried on and how it has been carried on during the last 6 months. This would enable them to consider the question as to whether it would be advisable or necessary to extend the period of the proclamation by a further period of 6 months. It is for this reason, sir, that a provision has been made in the Constitution in consonance with which this resolution has been placed before the House. In order to enable the honorable members to understand how the President's rule has been carried on, a pamphlet has been published which gives the information relating to the last 6 months. Now, sir, when the President took over the administration, naturally there were certain problems of a peculiar nature. I am not dealing here with the political problems but only with the administrative problems as they exist there. There was the problem of procuring food grains from the surplus states. After the advisor took over charge, naturally he had to devise certain measures for purposes of bringing the administration to a very high level of efficiency. That is the reason why the advisor issued a statement immediately after he arrived in Trivandrum on the 20th March 1950. I would read the very short but important statement that he made because that would indicate to this House the lines on which, under the guidance of the President, the advisor has carried on the administration during the last 6 months. This is what it says: the President's rule, which is necessarily of a temporary character, will give the people a short respite from politics and will provide an administration impartial, absolutely above party, above caste, and above creed, and I hope efficient. It will be my special endeavour to implement the schemes included in the second 5-year plan and to create employment for some, at least, of our educated unemployed. He has made a further appeal for cooperation so far as the public is concerned and for harder work so far as the officers are concerned, and thus, sir, he has taken under scrutiny all the acts that have been done by the various departments under his overall supervision and has pointed out how, to a large extent, the administration has become fairly efficient and how he has given his attention to various problems. Now, the first and naturally the most important problem that has to be taken into account is to what extent the first 5-year plan has been implemented and to what extent the second 5-year plan has to be placed on sound footing. Naturally, therefore, these are the two circumstances which we have to take into account, because ultimately all the acts or omissions, if any, will be judged by this particular target, namely to what extent the President's rule has succeeded in implementing the plan. After all, you will find, sir, as the adviser has rightly pointed out, that the President's rule has had to come into existence under exceptional circumstances. Now, even if there are certain exceptional circumstances, it is absolutely essential that the continuity of the progress of the nation has to be maintained, and therefore it is not merely an administration in the routine sense of the expression, but we have to carry on the various welfare schemes. It has been proposed to set up this industrial development at corporation as distinct from the Industrial Credit Corporation. I am not concerned at present with the latter. Sir, the object of this corporation is stated to be quicken the pace of industrial development in the country. There is no denying the fact that it is necessary for the government to take the initiative in the matter of industrial development of our country and help in the growth of industries. If money were required for this purpose, nobody would be more happy to provide that money than our party, because we stand for the industrial development of the country. But what is being done in the name of development of industry is this: the government is making over certain things to the big man in the business and is entirely leaving matters to them and is relying on them for the development of the industries. In this scheme, too, you will find the same attitude being taken by the government. I am not opposed to the idea of any consultation with competent persons, but at the same time, I would like to stress that it is all the more necessary